Before he was catching footballs in the NFL for the San Diego Chargers, Vincent Brown was having a great start to his season in his junior year at SDSU, until a thumb injury not only ended his season early, but began the difficult process of returning back to normal, both physically and mentally.
My junior year at State, I dislocated all the ligaments and tendons in my thumb, and I required surgery. I missed half of the season, and I was leading the nation in receiving at the time. That was real rough for me.
Vincent experienced one of the more devastating injuries that a wide receiver can get. This, according to Dr. Bill Lunsky.
The most severe that we see come out of sports like football. And the biggest of those predominantly are hyperextension ligament tear type injuries where the ligament of the thumb is actually torn clear away from the bone of the thumb. Often these require surgical repair and are devastating to the athlete.
Sitting on the sideline and not being able to help my team, that really hurt. I remember crying in the locker room after that game, just knowing when they told me, you probably won't be able to play the rest of the season. And I'm not the one who likes to miss games, practice, or anything, so.
This mental pain that Vincent experienced after this injury, Dr. Lunsky says is more common and serious than many people realize. It's the first hurdle in the rehab process to overcome before any other physical steps begin.
You can imagine what's going through this young man's mind. He worked his whole life to become a professional football player, and all of a sudden, they're sidelined. So we're dealing with the same kind of things that we see with patients in the hospital environment that have serious injuries like cancer or major surgery. It's very easy to get depressed. It's very easy to get hopeless. It's very easy to get anxious. The ultimate goal here is that we can get them to accept what's happened to them, set goals together.
The goals for rehab are often smaller than athletes expect. For the first 3 months after surgery, the goal is simply to get range of motion back. And this is where athletes can once again struggle to come to grips with their injury.
When I first got my cast off, I couldn't move my thumb at all. And I was like, man, how long is this gonna take? I remember the trainer, they told me you probably won't be able to catch a ball for probably 6 months, 7 months. And
it's extremely difficult to try and explain to a world-class athlete that we're not going to be working on throwing a football for a very long time. We're going to be doing baby steps. The simplest tasks like picking up a knife or a fork is what you're actually doing the first couple of weeks with a professional athlete.
Getting range of motion back in the first 3 months of rehab is vital, and this is where rehab for non-athletes usually ends. But for athletes returning to high level of play, they have an extra 3 months on top of that focused on strengthening. To get through the emotional and physical battle that they have to go through for 6 months total, an athlete has to rely on their therapist.
What Vincent probably needed the most during that time period was support.
I worked with Allison Miner, our trainer at San Diego State. She'd encourage me every time. She'd tell me, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be a process, but she'd tell me every time, you'll get there. And then once I got back, she smiled and she was like, see, I told you.
It's tough for any athlete to go from full speed to sitting on a sideline or barely picking up objects. It's a tough road that requires the encouragement and expertise of a qualified therapist. For non-athletes and athletes alike, a therapist is vital for any recovery, and why Palomar Pomerado Health has been providing leading therapy to San Diego for many years. To find a therapist near you, go to pph.org and scroll to the top right-hand portion of the page and click on the link, Find a Doctor. There you will be able to find the therapist that's right for you.